folks, this is Largo. We're in the lair and just wanted to do a quick review of a new Joe that just made it into the lair. This is the Secret of the Mummy's Tomb, which is a remake of a classic set that came out in the 70s, also called Secrets of the Mummy's Tomb, you can see here on the box. Now the original is one that I had as a kid, and it had an ATV, a yellow six-wheel vehicle. It came as part of the set, it came with some other accoutrements, and you know, the classic desert explorer pith helmet, and a mummy sarcophagus, and some other neat bits. So this is kind of an homage to that. They have omitted the vehicle, probably for cost-cutting reasons, but kept kind of true to the spirit of the thing with the pith helmet and the mummy sarcophagus and all that jazz. So it's a neat package, has the Adventure Team logo on it, and this was kind of one of the few re-releases that came out a few years back where they were bringing the Adventure Team back and doing homages to what had come before. And so this is a pretty good example of that. I picked this one up for AT-76, a little bit out of nostalgia, but also because I see pieces, parts here I can use to create maybe a different take on a classic character. So we'll get this out of the box and we'll take a look at it. So we have our new adventurer out of his box. You can see some of his accessories there with him. A pretty good example. They did a couple of different variations of this. You could buy this same Mummy's Tomb Explorer with the same setup, but with a couple of different head sculpts. I opted for the beardless version just because I really like the head sculpt on this. He's got, you know, kind of the heroic look and something different. And I have some other plans for him, so we'll see where that goes. I do like the pith helmet. It's classic and certainly fits his desert exploration kind of look. He does seem a little underdressed. They didn't opt to give him a shirt, just a adventurer's vest and some really cool tall boots and a couple of other basic accessories. One neat thing that he comes with is, you know, kind of a Tomb Raider / Indiana Jones kind of nod. They give him a bullwhip in the accessories. We'll dig that out in a minute and take a look at it. The jewels are reminiscent of the ones that came with the original set, the Secret of the Mummy's Tomb from the 70s. And the sarcophagus is a nice update. We'll talk about that stuff, we'll pull it out and take a look at it individually. But right now, let's just look at Joe. He has really good articulation. It's not as super articulated as some of the other figures, but I did like the fact that he has the gung-ho grip, which means he has individual moving fingers, which he can use to hold all kinds of different accessories. He comes with a pretty nice looking 45. Strangely though, he has no holster. He does have a cool utility belt of sorts that has this ridiculously huge knife. I guess is good for fighting mummies. It's, I don't know what it is. It's just big. I mean, you look at it and it's cool looking, but the handle is like absurdly huge, even for his, you know, gung-ho grip type hands. So I don't know what they were thinking with that, but yeah, it's a thing. And so that has a sheath of sorts. Pith helmet could be a little tighter fit, but it does look good. It's nicely styled. A little loose on this head, but a little bit of padding in there or something to hold it on better will work fine. But does have a really nice look to him. I like the classic look of the, you know, the khakis and the vest. Like I said, he could use a shirt, and we'll get him one. But one other curious thing, other than the lack of a pistol holster, is a place for him to carry the bullwhip, which I don't know how many Joes run around in the ruins using a bullwhip, but apparently it's a thing. So Yeah, mileage will vary. It's a nice callback to the Mummy's Tomb set that came before, but it's lacking in some things, you know. Good articulation on the figure, nice head sculpt. He does have the flocking, so he is a fuzzy head, which is another nod to the original Adventure Team. But even though they gussied up the Mummy's Tomb itself, the lack of the ATV vehicle, which is iconic, and the fact that they still have the tomb, or the sarcophagus, way undersized for the figure, it's just kind of goofy. But I mean, I suppose they were just going for a look or an effect. And if you were just going to put this on your shelf and never open it and just say, hey, this is neat, that's cool. But I play with my toys, so we'll figure out some upgrades for him. But I'll go ahead and pull his accessories out and we'll take a look at those. Now we've got his goodies out of the bag, or the display area they had it in. Unfortunately, with these, they were not collector-friendly packaging. You have to destroy the package in order to get the stuff out, which is sad because there's some really nice artwork in there. It would have been nice to use for something in the future. So, pith helmet we've talked about. Here is the bullwhip that they gave him, which is really kind of neat. It's just a nice soft plastic, and you know, it's heroic, adventure-ish. It's something I've never seen another Joe come with, and yeah, we'll find a use for it. It's cool. He comes with the classic Adventure Team dog tag. This one is done in plastic with a metal chain, unlike the Timeless collection that came with a full metal one. But we'll probably replace this with one of the actual 1/6 scale dog tags that just look better, I think, than just the giant one. The gems are cool. Again, reminiscent of what came in the set back in the 70s that I remember as a kid. He found some gems when he was searching for the lost sarcophagus. The mummy is definitely jazzed up. The original one was basically just a white plastic swaddled generic figure, whereas this one, they really put a lot of great detail in. Unfortunately, it's just way too small for the character. Has a neat little gimmick. You have a little lever in the back here, so your mummy can reach out and scare you. Beware. Like I said, the detailing on the mummy itself and on the front of the sarcophagus is really beautiful. It's really nicely done. Unfortunately, it's neither fish nor fowl. It's not 1/6 scale. Let's see if I can figure out how to connect this. There we go. It does take a little finagling to get it onto the little nubbins that they put here for it, which is probably something I'll have to fiddle with. Ah, there we go. So when assembled, it looks really nice. And, you know, some hieroglyphics on there, a nice coloring to it. Very King Tut looking. Does not stand too great, but, you know, for some forced perspective shots, we can probably make something work. More than likely, it will go with my smaller scale 1/12 figures and monsters for reference. It's a little big for their scale, but it's way too small for 1/6 scale. So I don't know, maybe Mego 8-inch type scale he could work. But the sarcophagus itself, yeah, I can use as a display piece somewhere. So definitely worth having. It's neat, and like I say, it's a callback to what came before. Definitely a really nice update as far as detail. But, you know, it is what it is. So, not a home run, but a really nicely done piece. I like the figure. And like I say, I really like the head sculpt. Not so much for the searching for the lost tomb or going tomb raiding or finding mummies, but I do think he might have potential as another hero. So we'll see where that goes when I get some more pieces parts in the lair. I'll keep you posted. Alright guys, we have here the basic bits and pieces that I'm going to use for my Bulletman custom, and I wanted to share the recipe with you to let you know it's not terribly hard to put something together with what is available on the market. And so the base body I'm going to start with is the ripcord figure from the G.I. Joe movie, Rise of Cobra. Terrible movie. I hated it. I thought the depiction of the Joes in that was really badly done. G.I. Joe Resolute's probably my favorite of anything done cinematically, even though that was an animation. If they had done a live action version of Resolute, that would have been chef's kiss. Anyway, I digress. Hated the movie, really hated the accelerator suits, thought that was dumb. But they did create a 12-inch figure of the ripcord character in the accelerator suit, sort of. The reason I picked this up, one, it's cheap because nobody wants this figure, and two, he has some really nice metallic type arms because of the body armor. So for a base body, for doing a updated Bulletman, this seemed like a easy way to do it. So that's part one, picking this guy up used. You know, 20, 30 bucks is about right for Evil Bay. You can probably find it even cheaper if you're getting it at a swap meet or whatnot. So we'll work with that to start our custom. Picked up some new decals, including Bulletman decals from a company I found online. I'll put a link in the description. And the best piece I found is this reproduction Bulletman helmet that is actually made of metal. And this came from a company called G.I. Joe Canada. Again, I'll put the link in the description. Beautifully done, well manufactured, has some weight to it because it is metal. Probably the best reproduction I've seen. And there is their business card, if you can see that. Like I said, I'll put their link in the description. If you're looking to do a custom Bulletman, that's the helmet you want. I also found this Chinese knockoff reproduction of a Mandalorian jetpack. And as you can see, it's pretty detailed, has a nice chrome type finish to it that matches the helmet. So I think that's going to be a good match. Got some boots that are kind of sci-fi-ish from an old G.I. Joe from early 2000s. Just picked this up in a random set of accessories along with a pair of knee pads. And found a Chinese manufacturer that is selling jumpsuits in 1/6 scale that are sleeveless. So for Bulletman, you want sleeveless, and I thought he deserves to have, you know, actual pants this time instead of just, you know, the wrestling type of unitard thing that the original wore. So that's the basic recipe. I also picked up some of these chrome pins. You've probably seen them on Etsy, Amazon, other places. There's a bunch of different manufacturers. I just picked this one because just thought I'd try it. No particular reason other than came in a 2-pack. So I've got one that is a extra fine tip at 0.7 millimeters and one that is a medium tip at 3 millimeters. So the idea is to use the chrome paint pen to add a chrome finish to these metallic arms and just give it some pop. So that's the basics. We'll see how that goes, and we're going to do a head swap also, because he might be a fun comedian, but he's a terrible Joe. I don't want this guy in my AT-76. So we're going to change it out with a more traditional Joe head that will fit the Bulletman helmet a little better. So I'll put this stuff together and show you the test fit of how it looks, and then eventually we'll get a final product. Here is the basic body without any of the accessories, just to show you what this particular Joe looks like as far as his articulation. It's the basic articulation for a lot of the late 90s, early 2000 Joes. It's not as super articulated as others, but it's not bad, and it does have the gung-ho grip style hands that I like. So we'll lose the head, we'll keep the rest of the body, and make use of those arms. He is a little bit slim, but as you can see, he's very similar to some of the classic collection type bodies, which also had, you know, kind of slim features, as opposed to some of the other Adventure Team Joes that came out later that are a little bit more buff in the way that they're built, you know, the arms and chest piece. So my Bulletman will not be beefy, but he'll be sleek and aerodynamic for flying like a bullet. So we'll test fit the outfit and give you a look at what my custom Bulletman's going to look like. I've looked at a lot of different Joe heads. In the mid-90s to 2000s, there were a lot of different Joe heads available that were not your traditional Adventure Team type Joe heads. Not bad, decent sculpts, but what I'm looking for is someone who will fit the Bulletman helmet really well. And I think I'm going to go with the adventurer who came from the Search for the Mummy's Tomb set. He is a fuzzy head. He's not your traditional Joe, but he's close, and he has a nice heroic chin to him, mainly because the Bulletman helmet fits him pretty well. I'll probably put a little padding in there to keep it where I like it, but I like the look of that. I think that's going to make a good look. I might go with a different head later if I find one that I think works better, but with what I have available from some of the random Joes I've picked up, this guy's our winner. So I will go ahead and pop and swap using some hot water and put this head on this body to make my Bulletman. We'll keep this buck because I really like this more muscular design, and we'll put a more traditional or, you know, updated Joe head on here and make this one of our AT-76 regulars. So pieces, parts, not super easy to swap parts on these like they are some other types of figures, but it's doable. And thanks to some of the guys in the Axis of Awesome, they've shown me some good techniques for making this work. So we'll do the head swap and then we'll put stuff together. I have a love-hate relationship with Hasbro. I chose to use my heat gun rather than the hot water option, just because I didn't want to damage the flock on one of the heads. I just wanted to point out how lovely and beautifully inconsistently consistent Hasbro can be. All of these were manufactured within 1 or 2 years of each other, but you'll notice the neck posts are not the same. They never are. For some reason, even within the same kind of production runs, Hasbro has this thing where they have to tinker and change things up. So the neck post for the Fuzzy Head Adventurer that I want to use for my Bulletman has a similar, actually identical head post to some of the other classic collection or timeless collection type Joes. Great. Unfortunately, the body that I want to use has a completely different neck post. It's taller, it has a little bit different diameter. So, is it going to work? Probably, but it's just really annoying that for some reason, and this is true with their 1/12 scale classified stuff and some of their other Marvel Legends and whatnot, even within the same line, things produced in the same year, nothing is compatible. So, it just makes for more aggravation as a customizer. We'll make it work. You know, the diameter of the holes in the heads is similar. It's close. I'll have to look at the internal ring where it connects and holds on to the lip of the neck post. Might have to do some modification, but it'll be minor. So it is what it is. So just wanted to point that out. If you're planning on doing something similar to this, whatever donor head you choose, make sure that it has a very similar diameter to what you're going to be using for your neck post, or else you're going to have to do some major dremeling and customizing to get it to fit. So next we'll try to get this head to fit. Well, like Sergeant Rock's fond of saying, nothing's ever easy in Easy Company. Meaning, the head swap's going to be a lot more complicated than I had hoped. I thought it was going to be something simple. It's not, because Hasbro's inconsistent neck posts are going to cause me to have to do some more major surgery. So we'll do that on a later video. For right now, I just wanted to show you the test fit of what I've put together so you get an idea of how this Bullet Man's going to look. So, jumpsuit, again, just picked this up from a Japanese company I found on eBay. It's got a pretty good fit on this body. It's not super tight spandexy. It's got some give so that you can get some good articulation in the knees and everywhere you want. I like the knee pad and boot combo. It just kind of gives him a more updated look. Put a traditional web belt in black with a sidearm, and I could call it good there. Just put a Bullet Man sticker on his chest, and we've got a pretty good representation. He can pose pretty well in some, you know, dramatic flying poses with these arms. He's just as articulated pretty much as the original Bullet Man. I do not like this head, but again, it's just going to be here till we figure out a better solution. But the idea is to show that we can definitely get some good flying poses with a stand, and you know, whoops, might have to tighten up the joints a little bit, but overall it's not a bad look. You get the idea. And the jumpsuit looks good with the sleeveless look to show off the arms. So he's going to the gun show. Got to show off them guns. It looks pretty good as is. If I didn't opt to chrome out the arms, I could probably just go with that, and it's not bad. But we'll keep tinkering. So, yeah, like I said, basic setup, gives the spirit of Bullet Man, certainly. You know, as long as you got the arms and the helmet, you kind of got the feel of it. The color works well with the suit that I have on Mike Power, so they definitely look like they belong on the same team. Next, we'll go ahead and try the jetpack and harness and see how that looks with this setup, and see if that's what we're going to go with. So let me put that on and be right back. So, wow, I really like the chest piece. I wasn't sure I was going to go with that, but I think it definitely gives him a more finished look. Might have to change the belt out because of where it falls at the waist with the chest piece on. Might go with a different holster, maybe a drop leg, so that it doesn't interfere with the body armor. But it gives it a more finished look. It ties the arms and the chest together. Looks good with the Bulletman helmet. And again, this is just a test fit, so I just have this on here temporarily. It definitely fits with the backpack. So or jetpack, sorry. So between the jetpack, the helmet, and the chest plate, I'm thinking I just put a Bulletman sticker where the G.I. Joe crest is, and he's pretty well good to go, other than a head swap. That's gonna be a definite thing. But I like the way this turned out. I think it gets the spirit of the character, but he looks kind of updated, and he'll definitely pose pretty well. Again, he's not super articulated, but he can hold a weapon. He can definitely hold some decent heroic flight poses once we get a decent flight stand that can hold a 6-inch character. And he works well with my Atomic Man. So get him posed here and standing, hopefully. It's a little tricky with these 6-inch figures compared to some of the smaller scales I usually work with, but I'm getting the hang of it. So we've got our Atomic Man, we've got our Bulletman. Almost. He's a work in progress, but I wanted to at least give you guys a proof of concept with the recipe I came up with. It's similar to some of the things that, like Adam and Jeff and some of the other guys have come up with, but with, a little bit different spin on it. So tell me what you think. Please, in the comments, should I go ahead and chrome the arms, try the chrome mirror pins, or call it good as it is, other than the head swap? I do not like this head. It works, but he's not a Joe. We need a better Joe looking head. So I'll continue to either find a head that'll fit this neck post, or I'll have to do surgery and change the neck post out to accommodate the head I want to put on there. It's a thing, and one of the frustrations of customizing. So that's where we are right now. He does have a little bit of looseness in his hips after tinkering with him. I have some tricks on how to tighten those up. If that doesn't work, then I might just do a whole body swap and just pull these arms off and put them on a figure I like better. So there are always options, and for right now, that's where we are. So stand up for me, will you? He's a little hard to stand at the moment. Like I said, his hips are a little bit loose. He's got the jetpack, and the helmet is heavy, so it does offset the balance of the figure. But all these things can be accommodated for. I think it's going to work with my AT-76 vibe, with my updated mic power, and now an updated Bulletman. Again, please let me know in the comments whether you think he needs the chrome treatment on those arms, or any other suggestions on how to spruce him up or do something different. We'll just see where it goes. So I think that's going to be it for right now. Once I figure out a different head swap solution, I'll let you guys know. And enjoy. We'll see you in the near.